to do first is jam, strawberry jam. This is going to be 3 different things we're making today. The first one's going to be jam, then we're going to make jelly, and then we're going to make preserves. And those are 3 completely different things. Mostly it's about preference. So I've already cut up most of my strawberries. I just have a few more left. So these are washed and cleaned and everything. Now there's 2 ways to hull. What you're supposed to do is hull and cut the strawberry. And all that means is basically taking this less sweet part off. And you can do it 1 or 2 ways. You can do it just with a paring knife. See, like so. And just cutting it up, putting it in the pot that's already going. Or you can also do this. You can take this off, and they sell these on Amazon. It's a huller. They make them in all sizes, really, so for different fruits it can be handy. I keep these if my hands are hurting that day. Most of the time I just do this, but what you do, I don't know if you can see the green stem that's still in there? You just punch it through, like so. And it pulls out the core of the strawberry. Okay, and then you just cut it up. If that's too much work, or if you don't want to do it, you just want to stick to the 1 pair knife, that's typically what I do. But if I have an assembly line when my son's helping me or somebody else, I give them this and then I do the chopping. Makes light work, right? So, that being said, don't throw these away. You can throw the stems away, but like the cores or any piece that's still left, I'm going to show you on a different video what to do with these. You can actually make strawberry syrup out of these, because you're basically just going to boil it with some water and a little bit of sugar, however much, and you have a whole other product that you can use. So don't throw these away. Anyway, I'm going to finish cutting these up, and then I'm going to get back to you. So as you see, that's the size of the strawberries, and it's starting to boil, so we're getting started now. Here we have the granite water bath canner, and it comes with a rack where you can lift the jars and set the jars down. Now, this is my own personal preference. These jars don't tend to stay. See how it falls when you do it in these half-pint ones? Whereas the bigger, wider jars typically stay. So what I do, I always have extra of these. I just set it down in there. And for me, it works better because then you can set these smaller size jars like so in there, and they don't fall over, because well, these are empty, so they're gonna fall. But you see what I'm saying? They're not gonna. Here, let's put some water in them so I can demonstrate better. So see how they don't fall? Well, they're not full, so they're gonna tip over, but you get my point. So I prefer to put this extra layer in there. That way you don't have to worry about them falling, because for whatever reason they tend to want to gravitate to this little point right here, and they'll tip over, and that ruins your seal. So again, I just like to do that for extra layer of protection, of preventing them from falling over. And then you just lift it down. And there's little ridges. Let me put that down. There's little ridges in this too to kind of show. Pretty much if you go over this ridge, your pot's going to spill over. So this is like the cutoff, the max line, if you will, on where to stop the water line at. So, got something in there. Anyway, so let's get started. Also, something that I like to do, and even if it calls just for 8 jars, I always put extra in there because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes things happen and you have extra. Extra is a good thing in every way. So there's that. Anyway, so these are going to start boiling, and typically I like to boil them for 10 minutes. That sterilizes the jars. This is really only necessary in water bath canning. Really, anything over 10 minutes is considered sterilized, but this is right at 10 minutes that we're processing, so I'm still going to do that. It's kind of an old school thing. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Okay, a pro tip, if you will. Um, when you're pressure canning and you're not really in a hurry, and I mean that as in you're not in a hurry until the pressure canner's going and you're processing. You can stop and start as many times as you need to go grab something or whatever. However, with jams and jellies and things like that, it goes quick. So it's best to have everything you need measured out on the counter, in the pot, ready to go. So let's start at the very beginning. We got our water bath canner. Our jars are in there. The water's getting hot, and the jars are already in there. So we got that already going when we're about to start the jam. We got our lids over here simmering. We got our pot of the product that we're using, which is the strawberries. Those are already in there and measured out. Pause. You have your sugar. So this recipe is from this book right here. If you can see it. And strawberry jam. Okay, so it calls for 5 cups of whole strawberries. We did that already. A quarter cup of bottled lemon juice. For some reason, the bottled with jams and jellies just works better. Pectin. 6 tablespoons of liquid pectin or 1 packet of one of these. So this is what I had today, and this is what we're using. Okay? I've got various measuring cups and spoons just in case. And of course the recipe in front of me. A potato masher, and that's used to mash the strawberries. Okay, and then you got your funnel. Again, the lids are in there simmering. You got your magnetic thing to pick up the lids out of the water. You got your debubbler. You got your jar picker-upper. And then I have the rings right here by the side, ready to go. And everything's measured out, and it's time to get started. So, the first thing it says to do is fill the canner up with enough water to cover the lids. Did that. The next thing it says to do is blend with a blender or a food processor, pulse the strawberries once or twice. So you're left with a chunky mixture. Because again, we're doing jam, not jelly. So I didn't feel like getting my mixer out or blender or anything like that out just for one little batch. So that's why I have the potato masher. Now what we're going to do is go in the pot. I mean, you know how to do this. And just mash it. Basically, it helps with the cooking process. Or speeds it up, rather. And that's good. It's just like little tiny pieces. It's not pulverized. I mean, you can, but to me, when you do that, it looks cloudy in the jar. So, and it's hard to get the foam out. So, again, just make sure it's just tiny little pieces to whatever size that you want in the jar. Because whatever size it is, it's going to be a little bit smaller because it's going to cook down. So keep that in mind. So smash it to the bit size that you want. Okay. Now that's done. For me personally, personally, if I was doing like a big batch, I'd use the blender, but I'm not doing that. So, what it says next to do is using the low. Okay, we did all that. You can also put it in a Ziploc and then mush it with your hands if you want to. Maybe you got little ones in the kitchen helping you. It's something fun for them to do. So you can also do that. It says combine the strawberries and lemon juice in a large saucepan and slowly stir in the pectin. So we need a quarter cup. I know this is a little bit big, but that's what we're using. Okay. So lemon juice is going in. I'm actually going to have to put this on a different burner. This burner is going to be too small. And the pectin. So the neat thing with these little sugar gel things, they usually have recipes on there too that are pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever used one, but I've glanced at them a couple times, you know. Okay. So pectin is going in. I guess it would help if you turn the heat on, right? Probably a good idea. I picked a heck of a time to start canning jams and stuff. My husband and I are on keto. This is our 4th week. And so something really sugary sounds good sometimes. But anyway, for those of you that are diabetic, like myself, and that are trying to lose weight and get our A1Cs down and all that, and you want to try keto, I'm trying to do some things like jams and stuff like that are normally sweetened with sugar. And I am going to be researching some jams without sugar. And you can do that. I've done one or two for someone else that was paying me to do some canning, and she absolutely loved the jam. I don't use these when I do the sugar-free jams that I have done. But I am doing some research on some other stuff to try that out. Maybe even just low sugar versus no sugar. But there's a different type of pectin that you use for that. So anyway, so let's see, what does it say to do next? Okay. So what we're doing is waiting on it to come to a rolling boil. Okay. So you're about to find out why you have to have everything ready beforehand. So, okay, so we got a rolling boil. Now we got our sugar ready to go. And again, you gotta move fast. I'm making a mess. Okay. So we're gonna take it off just for a second while we pour in the sugar. For many reasons. One is to keep from something coming up and hitting you in the face. Anybody watching Medea and she talks about hot grits, yeah, that hurts. So I take it off just for a minute to get it stirred in. There we go. We're getting there. Make sure it's good and stirred in. You don't want no pockets of sugar. making a mess this morning, but you know, my kitchen, my rule, right? So I was supposed to have a helper do this. He actually got called into work. Mr. Jared, y'all know Jared. Didn't know me, that is. He got called in early to work, so he didn't get to help with the jam. But he said he was good with that. He was willing to taste it. You know, for quality assurance, of course. Okay. So now it says to have that combined and put it back on the burner and let it boil for 1 minute. Okay. So how you determine, I know a lot of people are cooking cooks that are on here and you just want to learn how to can. But for those of you that don't know what a rolling boil is versus just boil, if you're constantly stirring it and it keeps boiling, that's a rolling boil. Whereas if you stir it and it stops boiling, that's not a rolling boil. If you want a rolling boil, sorry, I'm from Southeast Texas, we say boil. And on a rolling boil, before you can continue. So that's not going to take long to start boiling because it was already boiling. So again, there are other ways to do jellies and jams. You don't even have to use pectin. Some people, I mean, this is something that I'm going to try. I haven't done it yet. Some people use apples because apples have natural pectin in them. So there's a recipe I want to try where they put, it's a big batch though. I'm going to make that, and I think if it turns out well, that's what I'm going to sell at the farmer's market. They take 2 apples, and then I forget how many cups of strawberries, and then whatever sugar they want to add to it. And they peel these and put these in with the mixture that boils on the stove. And this is all the pectin that they need. Some people don't like the pectin in there. Some people don't want the gelled consistency. It's probably more a texture thing for some folks, because I know there's some things that I don't like, and not because of the taste, but just because of the texture. So there's that. Okay. So we are coming up on a boil. It's not a rolling boil yet. But when it does, I'll start the timer. Getting there though. Anybody else use these enamel cast iron Dutch? I guess Dutch oven. I think it's something else, but anyway, I love that blue. Isn't that a beautiful blue? I love these things. I really, really do. I like to put roast in them. If I'm not using the crock pot, I like to put a roast in them in the oven. They do so well. I also bake sourdough bread in them too. They're perfect for that. Perfect size if you like the little round, fancy shape. I'm not good enough to do all the little fancy designs. I know a couple ladies on here that do, and they do beautiful bread. So I could use some tips from them. I kind of wish this was alive right now, because then people could ask questions and we could interact with each other instead of me just looking at a camera, you know. But anyway, so let's just read over some directions it's going to have us do here in a minute. So then, of course, we're going to remove it from the heat, and we're going to scrape off the foam. And jam always creates foam because there's still pulp in it. And air, I guess. So that's why it creates the foam. You just scrape it off the top. No big deal. And then, so we're going to have a headspace of 1/4 of an inch. And if you watch my other videos, I mentioned the difference between water bath can things versus pressure can things like meats. Okay. All right, it's at a rolling boil, so we're going to time it 1 minute, and then we're going to take it off the heat. And actually, I am going... I'm going to put the pot over here so that way you can kind of see what I'm doing when it does that. We're just waiting on the top. Ooh, I got a long spoon too. I got a slotted one and I needed a non-slotted. That'll work. It is now. My channel it is. Okay, we got 20 seconds and we can take it off the heat. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we do. So now we're going to bring this bad boy over here. Oh yeah, that's going. Okay. Now we just gotta. Okay, so we're gonna turn this off for a minute because it's gonna stay hot. And I'm gonna lift. Don't try this at home, kids. I have asbestos fingers, so I'm so used to grabbing things hot that it doesn't even bother me anymore. So now that that is off the heat, typically what I do, I hope you guys can see this okay, is it's not the solid, it's just the foam. See? That's all it is. I'm taking that off. Honestly, you can leave it on there if you don't. I'm making mine pretty because these are for sale. You can leave the foam in there if it's just you and your family. We've done that before just because didn't want to waste it or whatever. But you can do other things with the foam. You can put it over ice cream. Just saying, because it's still gonna congeal. So it just doesn't look pretty in the jar. So, and again, like I said, these right here are for sale. So I'm not going to do that. You kind of want to work as quick as you can because it will start gelling up on you if you don't watch it. I don't even have them in the jars yet. Eee. Honestly, with this being jam, it's hard to get a lot of the foam off. Because I did bigger chunks. So it's kind of hard to get a lot of the foam off. And that's okay too. It still won't taste good. But again, these are for sale, so I'm going to try to get as much off as I can. And sometimes when you get them in the jars, you can kind of scrape a little, before you clean your rims off and put the lids on, you can kind of do that too. So anyway, that's good enough for that. Now, we're going to start ladling these up. You don't really have to use vinegar to clean your rims with this stuff. It's just like when you're handling the raw meats and anything that's got oils in it, you don't want to, do all that. So we're going to put this to, let me get the first jar out. We are going to do this to a 1/4 inch headspace. Be careful when you're taking the water out. And I like to leave them in the jar, in the canner until then. And put it on this right here so you don't crack the jar. So anyway, so on goes our funnel, our handy dandy funnel. And we're just going to start ladling it in there. And this is going to be, again, this is going to be your 1/4 inch headspace. Which is about right there. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you look, it's almost to that top ring of the jar. I'm going to take a couple out. Just for funsies. You can actually take all of them out if you want to. They're going to stay warm enough where they're not going to crack. Hot. Again, I got asbestos fingers. I can't recommend doing that. But I'm a goofball and I don't even feel that crap anymore. So there's that. Yeah, I'm going to be selling these at some farmers markets that are coming up around my area. I think I'm going to go to the Colemanville one in April. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to hit that one up in April. I'm going to find out more about that. I haven't checked into it yet, but there's some other like trade days and farmers markets going on that don't cost a lot to be a vendor there. The Beaumont one is a joke because they want you to sign a contract. I'm like, man, I just want to sell some stuff and be on my way. But anyway, I don't know how it really works. So I've only ever sold these, off of Facebook Marketplace. I've never went to a farmer's market with my stuff before, so we'll see. That looks about right. Make sure. Oh, actually, that looks a little bit more than I need. A little bit more. So that's when you just take out what you need. Because like I said, you haven't cleaned your ends yet, so no harm, no foul, right? Next jar. I'm actually just setting them on there. They're starting to cool off a little bit. They'll be fine. Unless you have like a marble granite top counter, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. I've done it not thinking and haven't had any issues. Now, when we lived in Fort Worth and we had granite countertops, I would not recommend doing it that way. I chipped more coffee cups and bowls on marble. No. I mean, not marble. We had granite. I don't know why I keep saying marble. I got marble in my head. I think I lost some marbles this weekend, so maybe that's it. True story. Okay, so we're up to 4 jars. I'm not sure if it's going to do the whole 8. We're going to see. But I always keep extra just in case. Or keep extra ready to go. Sometimes it makes 9 or 10, and it just depends. I don't know why that is, but barometric pressure? Who knows? Ooh, that's way too much. Oops. Oopsie. Have you noticed how much more fun I'm having doing the jams than the other canning? Now I got too little. Crap. I don't know. This is fun. I enjoy it. It's therapeutic in my opinion. And you have stuff of your own that you can rely on. So that's what it's all about, right? I'm a firm believer in the Tin Hat Society, so anybody wants to leave remarks about what they think's going on in this country, world, whatever, I'm all for it, and I always entertain conspiracy theories because I have a few of my own. And Richard just looks at me, okay. So he's not saying I'm wrong either, because I'm going to write about a few things, and he's like, maybe you're onto something, that kind of thing. But anyway, it's always nice to have your own stuff because you know exactly what's in it. Now, typically we use the Marina sugar, which is pure cane sugar, but I had this other granulated sugar that I don't really like to use anymore. It's because all the chemicals that are in it, it's not just sugar, and that's so sad. So sad. But it's just the way of the world. They make things convenient for us so they can put their crap in there that we don't know what it is. And I'm sick of it. I don't know about y'all. I like to know what's in my food. That's why we're doing what we're doing on this channel, right? I think we're going to have just enough. I think we're going to 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. I think we're going to have just enough, and then I'll have enough to put in that little baby jar, I think. Oh, maybe not. Actually, I think I can get a whole nother jar. I'll have a whole nother jar. Do I have a whole nother jar? Not in the canner. Let's wash this one up. I have plenty of lids. I don't know. Let's let that simmer for a minute. You only have to let it simmer for 2 minutes. So I'm going to get back to that here in a minute, and I'm going to go and start cleaning these rims. And by the time I do that, that will be simmered. It's already boiling now. So anyway, so let's get to cleaning the jars. So that's pretty close to 1/4 inch headspace. It's hot. I'm not going to measure it, but it's pretty close to me. And each time you fold it over so that way you're not just putting the mess back on the rim, right? You want a clean spot every time you do that. And again, I'm wiping on the inside and the outside along with the rim. So that being said, almost done. Oh, yep, almost didn't turn that. It kind of looks like it's already starting to set. So the pure gel worked. The only thing that I don't like, oh, excuse me. Oh, hang on, now I gotta wash your hands. Anyway, so the only thing that I don't like is it doesn't seem, the pulp rises to the front, and that can be unappealing to some people, and some people don't care. They know it's going to be delicious, so that's the catch with selling these. Some people like that, some don't. They're like, ooh, it all floated to the top. City people. Okay. It has been at least a minute of hard boiling. So let's get him out. Boom, last one. Oh yeah, that's close. So close. and my goofy butt forgot to do something. Do y'all know what it is? I'm gonna wipe that off. I forgot to use my debubbler. I do this crap all the time. That's why you gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself. So you gotta go in, and if you're careful enough, you probably could, but I don't like the chance of getting something on the rim. So I'm just gonna wipe the rims again like a goofball. That's a rookie mistake, right? I know someone's gonna say that. And it is, but that's okay. We're human, right? As long as we fix the problem. Kind of like backing into a parking spot. It doesn't matter if you need more than one go at it to get into the spot, right? As long as you do it right. And not park over the line like a jackass. I got problems if you didn't do that. Okay. I think we're good in these bubbles. So now, once again, I'll wipe the rims. Ooh, and again, it is hard being keto right now with all the smells going on in this kitchen. Let me tell you, I didn't lick the pot. Or just take a jar and go, ooh. But honestly, most days I'm fine. The first week that we did our little sugar detox, where we went completely no sugar, probably the closest we've been to divorce. But we made it. No broken bones or hurt feelings, too bad. We had coffee, so we survived. Okay. So now I'm getting distracted on where I started. Now, definitely when they come out of the canner, you do not want to put these on the counter like I'm doing now. No, they're hot, but they're not that hot. But when they come out of the canner, you can you set it down, you can mess with the seal. I mean, a lot of things going on. So you want to make sure you put it on that mat. So I'm curious, has anybody else tried canning before? Man, we really need to do a live, don't we? I'd like to do a live with y'all and canning something. That'd be fun. I did a live here when we first started this little endeavor a few weeks ago on Facebook. Couldn't even do it on the canning page because it was a new channel or a new page, so oh well. But I think we should. I think we should do a live here in a couple of weeks. Okay, taking these off simmer. You know what? Let me get this hot up over here. How do you get this other jar out of here? It's not needed. I was kind of hoping there'd be someone left to put in a little baby jar, but yeah. That's probably a good thing because I mess up keto for the day, right? Anyway, so let me put this in front. So we put the lid on, right? Now you're just gonna put it on until it stops, and then just like that, barely. And then I'm just gonna place it in the canner to wait for his little friends. See, you can grab them if you stay on the inside, but we're just gonna do it like this, like we're supposed to. So you can see that, just give it one little tightening, not even really tight, not tight at all. You want a toddler to be able to open that because, and I said in other videos, but in case you haven't caught those, the heat rises, and when it does, the air rises, and it escapes the jar, right? Well, if you have it on so tight, then it's going to have like a false seal. There's going to be air and it's going to create mold. So you have to make sure you just barely tighten it, just enough to keep it on. I mean, just barely, because the air won't be able to escape. Ooh, these look good. Okay. By the time I get done, the water will be boiling back again. I keep turning it off like a goober. That's new to me. And this little rack is handy. Whoever invented that is a genius. I'll say that. Makes it a lot easier to get those jars out. But I'll tell you what, a lifesaver has been putting that extra rack down there for these smaller jars. They say it's not a big deal if it's like if you're canning like quart jars and pints, because they're wider jars. But these little small ones like this, perfect. I'm just gonna set all the lids on here, I think. Come on, get out of there. Whoop, there it is. Okay, lids are on. Let me get that going a little higher. And also, since it's up like that, you can set them in there by hand if you don't want to use your jar lifters. I couldn't remember it's called a jar lifter, not a Dumaflashi. So see how easy that was and how little time it took to do? Why wouldn't you want to do that? And I'm going to hurt some feelings, probably for some that, whatever, but if you have time to scroll, okay, before I get into that rant, let's lift them up. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It says 8 jars. We wound up getting 9 jars out of that. How awesome is that? Hang on, let me count again. Yeah, 9 jars. So we got 1 extra jar out of this recipe. So we're going to lower them. And you want at least 1 inch over the jars. And why that is, because water is pressure. A body of water is pressure, so it's going to help keep the lids down and give just enough pressure where that heat and the air in the jar can lift up. And it's actually already starting to boil. And anyway, so it's been my opinion, and I've been trying to change a lot of things in our life. A lot. So I'm trying to be more active. My husband and I both are. We're trying to do more things. We're trying to get off the screen more. So, which is hard to do, and I know that's just the age we live in, right? So it is hard to do, and I feel for anybody that's trying. But if you have time to sit there and watch TV or watch this show or whatever, you have time to do this. We did this in less than 30 minutes. It's been less than, I'm looking at the timer. It's been less than 30 minutes. And the only reason it's taken me as long as this is because I'm explaining things. If I was just in here knocking this out, no camera, whatever, 20 minutes. Because everything's ready. Now, the prep work can be, to me, the most time consuming, but the actual processing and everything else doesn't take long. And I know everybody's busy, and everything. But something that I've been trying to train myself is if I have time to watch a TV show, which is also fun, and I'm not knocking TV, then I have time to do something like this. And then we have something put away for election year. Said what I said. Everybody remembers 2020. You couldn't find crap. So just more reason to do this and learn how to do this, right? So I'm going to turn this off for a minute because it's still got a few minutes before it boils. And I'll bring you back when we're ready to take the jars out. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. So let me get that out of the way so you can see. I'm going to put that right there. See? Now, as I mentioned in the canning video, you can add a splash of vanilla, add a splash of vinegar to the water, and that helps with the hard water deposits, depending on what kind of water you have. And just remember, when you're lifting, you lift straight up and over and set it down. You lift straight up and over. You don't want to tilt the jar anyway because that will compromise the seal, and all your hard work done went to waste. Lift up. There you have it. Man, I'm excited. I got 9 jars out of this instead of the 8 that the recipe says. So, how cool is that? All right, there you have it. Ta-da! So, honestly, what you could do is you could just strain this and get the pulp, the fruit pulp out of there and just make jelly out of it. I am going to make a jelly recipe as well, but I'm just saying what I would do is just do the same recipe, but just strain the fruit pulp out if you just want the jelly. Preserves is a whole nother animal. We are definitely going to get into both of those two as well. So anyway, so this concludes the part with the jam, and then I will see you here in a minute, and we're going to make some jelly. So I was on in this book that I'm using for this recipe, they have a variation of it with balsamic vinegar. I'm not 100% sure if I want to try that, but if anybody feels the need to try that, go ahead. And all it is, so you do 1/4 cup of lemon juice, right? So what you do is you leave 1 tablespoon of that as lemon juice, and the rest of it will be balsamic vinegar. And what it says it does, it says it gives it a tangy flavor, and it elevates the flavor of the jam. Me personally, I don't know if I want to try it, and I like balsamic vinegar. So to each their own. You do that when, you follow directions just like before, but you balsamic vinegar. That's interesting. Okay, just thought I'd share that. Okay, we're back. All right. So I strained everything out, all the pulp, and we're left with nothing but the juice for the strawberry. So 5 cups rendered down to a little over 3 cups of just the juice. So we're gonna pour that back into the pot. I cleaned out the pot a little bit to get some of the pulp out of there. So now we're done with that mess. bring this back up to a boil. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the jam. It's just going to be strained. So as soon as that starts boiling, we're going to be good to go. Actually, you know what? I need to put the sugar in there. See if I don't make a mess today. So you're thinking 3 cups of the juice is not going to make a lot of jelly, but the thing is, this is 6 cups of sugar that's going in, so more than make up for the volume. As it did. In goes the lemon juice. So I'll put the pectin in here just a minute. Let me get this dissolved and get it heating up real quick. Oh, that's so pretty already. Nice and red. Once the sugar goes in there and the pectin, it turns a really dark, rich red, like what you see when you eat chips. So, all right. So again, this is going to go pretty fast once I get this done. Because what we're going to do, we're going to let it boil. We're going to let it boil, then we're going to put the pectin in, and then we're going to let it boil for an additional 1 minute, and then I'm just going to take it straight off the pot, or straight off the burner, and just set it over here on the pad. Like I said, this is a new recipe I'm trying. I bought this book a couple years ago, and I just found it in storage when we moved here a while back. So this is the first time trying this recipe. Again, the jam that we tested yesterday was really good. A little sweet for our taste, but it is what it is. So, like I said, I just did a cup less of sugar, and maybe that will work. This will be good. I want to try a strawberry jalapeno jelly. I think I made one a few years ago, but I don't remember how that went. Anywho, so just kind of like checking for little. So this is a ceramic bottom pan, so sometimes there's little tidbits of the strawberry that stick. So kind of watch that while you're stirring it, because once you pour the sugar in there, the liquid starts clearing up. So like you can almost see the bottom now, which you'll see in a minute. I'm going to bring the pot over there. Alright, let me see if I can get the camera over here so you can see. Okay, there it goes. It's boiling. So we're going to set the timer for 1 minute, and then we're going to take it off the heat. It's going to be ready to jar up. How about that? Okay, so we just took it off the burner, and I'm just going to scrape off some of the foam. Not really a fan of it, so. And again, you can still use it because it was still set like the jelly and the jams will. Just makes it look prettier. You can put it over ice cream, over yogurt, whatever your little heart desires. Doesn't take but just a minute. Almost got it. Since we don't have the pulp of the strawberries, there won't be as much foam to scrape off. So. And again, if it's for us, we don't really care if the foam is on there or not. It still tastes good. And it'll spread just fine over toast or a biscuit. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. My favorite recipe to use is Pioneer Woman strawberry jam. It is the best. I think it uses more lemon than what most jelly jam recipes call for. I think that's why I like it. I'm curious as to what lime would be like instead of lemon. I don't see where it would be bad. I mean, it's citrus, so that makes it a preservative, right? So there's that. Almost done. I said I want to make sure these are pretty because these are going to be for sale. Probably going to send one to South Carolina. You know who you are. Okay, so that's good enough. Let's see. That'll do. Oh, yes. I know Jared will be excited about that. So, let's start pulling some jars off out of the canner, shall we? Yeah, that's hot. Dang it. Every time. Woo! We can actually just lift this up. There we go. There's that. I'm going to take a few jars out. Well, supposedly. Maybe not. Alright, so we're just going to be difficult today? Okay. Oh, dang it. There we go. Whee! Let's take 4 out and we'll get started. So again, the water bath canning, anything under a pint, whether it be a half a pint, 4 ounce, 12 ounce, is acceptable too. It's still going to be 10 minutes under 1,000 feet. If the jars are sterilized, you can just do 5 minutes. I sterilized my jars, but I'm still going to do 10 because that's just how I am. I like to double check. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to over process anything. So, you're good. So let's get started. From a day of Now, if you're so inclined, you can use the vinegar on your paper towel for these jars too. I don't really see the point in it, so I'm not worried about it. Funnel. And then I grabbed the one without the funnel. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, yes, that did well. It's kind of already starting to gel up, so I better work fast. This is why I'm saying have everything you need ready to go, because if the pectin worked right, it's going to start setting up pretty quick. Here we go. Oh, that's so pretty. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think the camera does it justice. The color is just a deep, deep red, and it's just so pretty. Of course, things are always pretty and taste better when you make it yourself. You know, not that it's bad when other people make it, but you kind of want to brag on yourself a little bit. Like, look what I did. If you want to double check your headspace, go ahead. Those could actually use a little bit more, but just a little bit. So, there we go. Perfect. And that's why I don't clean the rims as I go, because I want to make sure everything's filled. Then you don't have to. Then you don't have to go back and, you know what I mean. So, oh, a little bit more. So I'm curious with taking the pulp out and just making this like a jelly, or just making a jelly out of this, how many we will get out of it. And again, any recipe that has actual directions is fine. Like I said, I like Pioneer Woman's uh, recipe the best. I use hers the most, but like I said, I wanted to give a shout out to this person and everything. So, because the thing is, with Pioneer Woman's, I think hers makes like a huge batch, and this was more of a smaller batch, so that's why I used it also. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's fine, dummy. Let's go with a 12 ounce, so that's 4. And the reason why they're all jumbled is because I don't have any full, of these sizes, I don't have any full cases left. It's all, I have like a gazillion quarts and pints, but I didn't have a whole lot of these sizes left. So I'm just trying to use a mix match of everything, you know. Use what you got. So this is the 12 ounce. And again, all these, anything under a pint is still going to be 10 minutes. Uh, regardless of which size it is. So. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot. So we got 4 pints. I mean, we got a lot in there, don't get me wrong, but okay. So that is 1/4 inch headspace. So I'm not gonna have enough for a pint, so that's why I like keeping one of these baby ones in there. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the recipe or anything wrong with what I did, but you know, being that it's fresh fruit, some strawberries may have more liquid in them than others, so it didn't produce as much liquid to gel. I did like the taste of this one better. It's slightly less sweet than the jam that I made before this, so I think this could be a winner if you want it less sweet on how I did it. Uh, I'm going to put the recipe in the description, so be looking for that when you click on the link, because I think this is a winner if you just want a small batch, you know. So, but like I said, typically the batches that I make are kind of big batches, so. That being said, all right, so we're going to save this 4-ounce one for us when we have a cheat day. And that way we don't have it in the fridge trying to be tempted by it later. Aha, that's too much. Oh, no, it's fine. Goody. Look, something else to put in my sink. Okay, so now we're going to, and I don't even really need to process this tiny one since it's going in my fridge, but just for the sake of showing you, I'm going to do that. No big deal, right? Turn all that stuff off. I'm the world's worst about leaving the oven on and the burner on, so you see small fires from time to time. Mind your business. Okay, this has got a little imperfection. And again, it's still going to taste good. All right, I'm going to taste it. I'm going to taste it again. All right, then. Let me clean the rim off again now. But there's a little foam on that one, so then we take our lid. It's gonna go on there. And again, just a reminder, it's not gonna go on tight. You're just barely gonna twist it on there, like barely. Yeah. Next. Oh, that's hot. Okay. And remember, just kind of cup your paper towel like that so you can kind of get on the inside of the rim also. And so I like to absolutely make sure it's clean. Boom. So this did pretty good. I mean, like I said, if you just want to do small batches, then I definitely think this is the recipe for you. And then some people have larger families and they need something with a greater volume, right? So you need, instead of 5 cups of strawberries, you need 5 pounds of strawberries. Am I right? And I'm going to do some big batches of some to sell. So then I will use the big one. So, but it's good to know that there are small batch recipes out there, right? And again, very, very important, and I can't stress this enough. Barely twist it on there. That's very, very important. I'm trying to put that on a dirty rim. What am I doing? See, this is a liquid, so you don't need to debubble it. I mean, you can, but you can see it's almost, you could almost read through it. So you see that there's not going to be any air pockets, so there's really no point in debubbling it. I mean, that's just my opinion. Debubble it if you so desire. All right, so the dink that I am, I didn't take all the jars out. Now we're taking up space. Be gone with you. See, I was hoping I could get 2 more of those out, but it is what it is. All right, last jar. I hope these videos aren't too long for y'all. It's just important to me to get this information out to people, especially the ones that I love, because you ain't knocking on my door if you didn't prepare. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I just want people to know how to do this kind of stuff, because this can make you or break you. It is an election year, and I hate to keep bringing that up, but I notice a lot of other people are concerned about that too, because we all know how 2020 went, right? And whatever side of the bird you're on, you can blame that on whoever the hell you want to. But the fact of the matter is, people were still fighting over toilet paper in the stores, fighting each other over toilet paper. Ridiculous. So, let me get off my rant. So we got 4 half pints, a 4-ounce jar, which is going to be for us, and then 1 12-ounce jar. And it's all going to go in there for 10 minutes. So I'll be back to you in just a few minutes, and we'll pull them out of the canner. It's already boiling. I'm going to cover the lid, and we're going to set our timer. 10 minutes. Boom. Okay, so what I've done is I've lifted the rack up, set it on the rim, and I let it sit in the canner for about 5 minutes before I take it out. And that's just giving it time to kind of acclimate to the temperature of the room. So, just a reminder, when you're pulling your jars out, straight up and over. And with water bath canning, there's usually a little puddle of water up there. It's not hurting anything. It's not going to seep into the jar. So just leave it there and you can dry it off later. Because if you try to tilt it and get the water off of there, then you're going to compromise that seal. And we worked too hard to make this stuff, right? So pretty. Look how cute. This is our little baby jar. This is for us so we don't get carried away and eat one of those. Alright. I'm going to turn all that off. I mean, that's it. Okay, let me see if I can get it closer. Look how pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. And I love seeing the seeds, or whatever, the little fibers from the strawberry. I love seeing those float around in there. It's so pretty. Anyway, so that's it for the jelly. Again, I'm going to leave a recipe for this. If you're interested in this and just turning the jam into jelly, if you just want a small batch or something, this is probably perfect for you. I mean, that's still a lot of jelly. But I mean, depending on how much you eat, how often you use jams and jellies, But typically when I do jams, jellies, or whatever, I do big batches at a time so I don't have to do it for a while. But you know what? You may not have the space for that. For a long time, I didn't have the space for it. But I made room for it. Because, jam's good. But anyway, so I'm going to leave the description. In the description, I'm going to leave the recipe for this and process times and everything. And then, so I guess the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some preserves and I'm going to film that. May not be today. We'll see. All right, y'all. Look at all the jellies. Strawberry jelly coming to a YouTube video near you. Pretty. Okay. So here's the realistic part of canning in your own canning. What? Let me try that again, shall we? So the realism of canning at home sometimes is not everything turns out. Have the jelly. Beautiful jelly, right? Perfect. The jam. So most of the jars came out just fine, but this particular bottle didn't get filled enough with the fruit. See how there's like a little bit down at the bottom that's clear? And absolutely nothing wrong with that. It all gelled just fine. You can see it's holding its shape and everything. The only thing is you just need to stir it. Whenever you open it, just stir it up. It'll be fine. It's not hurting anything. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just not pretty. So that's totally up to you what you would do with this. We're going to eat it whenever we have jam. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. It's delicious. So yeah, that's the realistic part of can. Guess you'd say realistic. I don't know. It happens. Sometimes my jars are perfect. This is not something that I'll sell because people might look at it funny, but we're gonna eat it. Or if anybody wants it, that's family, they can have it. And this is jelly, and all the jelly is this part right here. It's just without the pulp. So it tastes the same. Just one is without the pulp, and one was with. And the only difference between jam and preserves is preserves, you're not going to crush them. Because, like jam, I smushed them with the potato smasher. Well, with preserves, now I didn't make preserves today. I was going to, but I ran out of strawberries. But same process, nothing changes on that. The only difference is you don't cut the fruit, but one time you cut it in half and that's it. And then, so preserves, you're basically just doing the jam, but the fruit is almost whole. Now, it'll cook down a little bit in the cooking process, but that's about it. So I don't see any reason really to show you how to do that. That's going to be up to you when you decide to make your own jams. This was fun. This is one of my favorite things to do. Pie fillings. I'm going to get to pie fillings eventually. Like I said, this just takes time to film these and everything, and with other responsibilities that I have. I wish if I could can all day, every day, I would. But anyway, so that being said, jelly, good. Jam, good. And this is the realistic part of canning things. They don't always turn out what's on the pictures. But again, I'm not here to show pretty pictures and pretty this, that, and the other. I'm here to show you how to do things. And pretty sure if you couldn't find any jam or jelly on the shelves, when you look at this in your pantry, you're like, okay, well, it's not pretty, but it's delicious. And sometimes that's all that matters. So that being said, I hope this has been educational for you, at least entertaining, I hope. And I hope to keep doing this for you guys as long as I can, and as long as YouTube will let me. So that being said, I love y'all and have a great day.